Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. Now we'll be talking about Ten Hag's HOJLUND dilemma, as there does seem to be an issue with Rasmus HOJLUND. Not in terms of injury or anything, just the fact that we are struggling to create chances for him and to create chances for him to score goals. Now, what must Erik Ten Hag try and do to combat this issue? Because we spent a lot of money and invested a hell of a lot of money into Rasmus HOJLUND, and the fact that he hasn't scored in the league yet is kind of concerning. So how did Manchester United get HOJLUND to score goals? I mean, we know the threat's there and we know the potential's there. We've seen it in the Champions League, we've seen it from before, and we've seen it in moments in games from Manchester United this season. I mean, he did have one chalked off in the league against Brighton, but still he hasn't had the opportunity to create chances. He's had a few half chances. I remember one against Sheffield, there was a huge one obviously against Liverpool, one against Arsenal. So there has been glimpses, and there are definitely hopes that HOJLUND is a top player, and there's no doubt that I think he will become a top player. It's just about getting that consistency and finding a way where HOJLUND can excel in his best format, and that's something Erik Ten Hag needs to try and do. Otherwise HOJLUND will struggle. He will find it very difficult to score goals. He find it difficult to create chances. We know that his biggest threat is probably from crosses, and that's something Manchester United don't really tend to do. They find it difficult, or not many players put crosses in, and if they do put crosses in, it either goes too far over his head or just gets intercepted by the defender. Now, there's moments in games, especially that Bournemouth game where Delo should have passed it to HOJLUND. I think everyone saw that picture there, and that was something which was a huge concern, because our players are known to be a bit greedy. We know our wingers in particular don't really like, particularly Rashford and Anthony, they don't like putting in crosses. They don't like, they cut in and shoot, and that's a problem we've had for years. And the likes of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has obviously come in to now under Erik Ten Hag. I mean, they are the same players, so there's huge concerns. I mean, the thing that we need to do is, when we get into the chances, it's just all about creating that chance for HOJLUND as well. We know his pace is a huge threat, and that's something about Manchester United don't really tend to utilise. I think maybe just stick a ball over the top sometimes, not all the time, but just to change it up a little bit, and see what he can do with that. I mean, it probably will be difficult for him to get some touches on the ball from that, but ultimately it's no harm in trying something new and something different, and that's something Erik Ten Hag must try and do in the next few weeks, because he will, if not, we will struggle. And we need to score goals, because that's what we spend money for HOJLUND to do. I mean, you don't invest almost £85 million into a player for them to score any goals, and it is a really huge concern. And you look at the players who are instrumental to get HOJLUND starting, I think, and get to HOJLUND going to score goals. I think the two wingers, I think Rashford, Garnacho, Anthony, they're three huge players. I think Bruno Fernandes as well, and the fullbacks as well. I mean, just get the ball to him, see what he can do. We know his hold-up plays there. Bearing in mind, we know he's not the finished article. He's nowhere near that. He's a prospect and a youth player. We have to remember he's only 20 years of age, so we can't expect him to be scoring 20-25 goals a season. But just getting a few goals will probably help boost his confidence as well. And Erik Ten Hag has talked about him. We know exactly what he can do. And it's just all about getting that into we'll just get it done, really, and that's something Erik Ten Hag must try and do in these next few games. But yeah, it is a big dilemma, because our striker has to score goals, particularly as well, where it's a different thing if our other players are scoring goals, our attackers midfield. Our other attackers are midfield, or we're getting goals from elsewhere, but we're not getting any goals this. I don't think we've scored in our last 4 games, so we are struggling massively, and getting HOJLUND to score some goals will be massively important to us and will only help us. So yeah, create chances for HOJLUND, creativity, because he's not getting any service at all, and we've seen it demonstrated in all the games this season. He's getting half chances where he has to do a lot, and I don't think he's getting much support from his players around him. So it's all about getting that unit together, putting in crosses for HOJLUND, creating chances for him. And yeah, we will score goals, because, as I said, we spent £85 million on him. He's a huge prospect. But we have to give him time, because it's still his first season. I think he's played, just over 20 games for us. And yeah, he is going to find it difficult to adapt. He's a young player, a raw talent, and there is a lot of ways for improvement. But yeah, we must get HOJLUND scoring goals, and let's see what Erik